Turn your radios up. Turn your radios up. Y'all know what this is. Y'all know who this is. B-Eazy, that dude. An impromptu stream back with another one. This one will be a banger. Controversial topic, so it will be a doozy. Don't like to keep y'all waiting. Before we get this thing started, you know, I gotta hit you.
If you know the song, sing along. Yeah, you're right.
私も地元民。と言っても自分は少ないんです。もう友達できたの？うん。こっち見ない。
Look, this promethazine got me leaning like a cholo in the club. I'm 20 deep. I don't be riding solo. Pull some bad bitches, they vanilla and cocoa. They wanna take some photos when we kick it out in Soho. She's just showing tits and popping pussy for my promo. Told them like juvenile, baby, moving for me slow-mo. Then I'm right back to the block, cause I keep getting moto. I be flipping, not shrinking. I don't give a fuck about no ho. This nigga name ain't D-Lo, but pimpin' these bitches and stacking this bread forever be my stilo. This is B-Eazy, that dude in the trap making pass smooth. If I ever go broke, then I'm about to pull a jack move. Since a nigga healthy, I don't even gotta worry. With my bitch from Fiji, eating tandoori and chicken curry. That ism is really indie. My pimp game international. I design my own clothes, so I be always looking fashionable. Here's a couple facts about me that y'all didn't know. Some of y'all be getting bread, but I be getting bigger, dawg. I got bigger guns and a whole lot of bad. And we are activated, and we've already been joined by some illustrious guests. We got the hardest working mod on YouTube, Vibrant Low, and we got the foundational mixed American Progress Shepherd stepped off in the building. So, hey, look, I may not be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. Now, y'all seen the title, y'all seen the thumbnail, celebrating differences, the power of not being the same. Now, let me give y'all a prelude to the discussion. There has been a recent phenomenon of everyone wanting to identify as black. We all black since when? Did y'all get the memo? I didn't get that memo because, again, it wasn't just the Dominicans. I know black, Bobby. It wasn't just them. I'm not black, I'm Yoruba. I'm not black, I'm Igbo. I'm not black, I'm Nigerian. I'm not black, I'm Haitian, so on, so forth. People were saying, why y'all call yourselves black? Black is just a color, right? They kept saying that we were the crayon people, that black is just a color in a crayon box. But why is it now that so many people want to identify with that same color in the crayon box? So we're going to get into it. I'm going to be reacting to a video from my brother on Code Water God. So let me go ahead and I will be going ahead and pulling this up, and I will be bouncing back and forth like this. And I wish it was someone in the chat that can let me know if y'all can hear me clearly. So I'm just going to assume that everything is rocking smooth with the audio. and we'll get right into it. So this video is titled, Why Everyone Wants to Be Called Black Now. Like I said, this is a recent phenomenon. People were rejecting blackness left and right, pretending that if you called yourself black, it's because you don't know who you are. You don't know where you're from. No, I know exactly who I am. I know exactly where I'm from. That's why I'm a foundational Black American freedman. And hola, mi amiga, Tara Sanchez. Hola, senora or senorita, whichever you prefer. But salute to Tara Sanchez. So we're going to get into this thing. And I told y'all this one would be a doozy.
When I go outside in this world, when these Caucasians look at us, they see us as one people, black.
Shut the absolute fuck up. Can we stop with it? We know as Caribbean people that from jump we're taught we're better than them, that they're lazy. Even though it's bullshit, that's what we're taught. That they haven't achieved anything in this country because they're lazy. When the truth is that the way we're treated compared to how a foundational Black American is treated is not the same. It's not the same. Whenever I deal with racist clients, in order to get them to stop being racist towards me, I tell them that I'm Caribbean by birth. Yeah. And they immediately recategorize me in their brains. Immediately. Someone will even tell me that I'm not black. I'm not black. So when Black Americans fought for you to even be here, shut your bitch ass up. These my people, and I will defend them. Shut the fuck up.
We as a people have to understand that race, ethnicity, and nationality doesn't make us any different. It doesn't make us any different to say I identify as black.
So basically, it's so much of this stuff to unpack. This is going to be a obnoxious tethered tirade. It's disgusting, some of the stuff that she's going to say, and we're going to break it down. So this is just a preface to the discussion, right? I do want to just jump in there and debunk some of the stuff that she's saying, but I'm gonna let her cook. She's cooking, but it ain't good. The stuff is getting burnt. You feel me? This is gonna go off the rails.
And I will defend them. Shut the fuck up.
We as a people have to understand that race, ethnicity, and nationality doesn't make us any different. It doesn't make us any different to say I identify as black, I identify as Jamaican, I identify as Haitian, I identify as just plain American.
This whole we're all black is only because they're starting to get deported.
It's not surprising that he is going after Black immigrants in this country. And it's certainly not surprising that he's choosing a Black immigrant community that is also Muslim.
We're not black, we're not Arab, we're Somali.
We are Somalis, not black. There, I said it.
Somalis are not black.
That doesn't change. I could just say.
And like I said, I'm going to further break this down. I'm just dipping in there. So you see that we all black since when? All of these other people was saying, why do y'all call yourselves black? See, y'all call yourselves black because you don't know who you where you are. I mean, who you are and where you're from, right? The Somalis, who are literally African, was like, hey, don't call me African. I'm Somali. I'm Arab. I'm not black. My skin ain't black. They try to do this goofy thing where they pretend that being black is about your skin. I've never met a foundational freedman whose skin was black. My skin is not black. Have you ever met a white person whose skin was actually white? Have you ever met a Latino whose skin was actually brown? Yeah, I mean, you have met some that was brown, but you've also met some that were white who were just as Latino as the brown ones, right? There's, when they talk about African features, what is an African feature? There's a bunch of Muslim Arabs in African. Just if they try to distance themselves from African, I'm Middle Eastern. You're Middle Eastern from Africa, right? So like, what is an African feature? It's like saying a Latino feature. What Latinos are we talking about? Sammy Sosa is Latino. Are we talking about Sammy Sosa's features? Big Papi, David Ortiz, he's Latino. Are we talking about his features? So people just throw these buzzwords out. So-and-so has African features. There's no such thing as African features, so But again, so these people try to say we look the same because we all got African features. You got a big nose, I got a big nose. We the same. I've seen some Mexicans with big nose. So are they the same? And there are some Mexicans that have African ancestry. But does that make you the same? Right? Because you have a big nose and a darker complexion? No, we need to embrace our differences because if we're going to be held to the standard where we have to be labeled as a monolith and all the same, then everybody else is all the same too, right? I'm not going to be held to this because remember, people don't want DEI. They don't want affirmative action. They don't want woke, right? Like that's bad. Okay, fine. We don't want none of that. So we're not going to label and generalize us as one big global Negro. We all the same. We all sub-Saharans and all this stuff. Fine. Then all Latinos are the same. A Mexican is no different than a El Salvadorian, no different than a Puerto Rican, a Bolivian, a Brazilian, right? A Venezuelan, a Honduran. Y'all all the same. Y'all all love tacos. Y'all all love horchata, right? That would be offensive to just paint them as one big Latino, right? But isn't that what you're doing with black people? You know different than a Jamaican. Actually, I am. I'm a foundational Black American freedman. And this person is Jamaican and that person is Haitian and this person is that. It's no shade, right? We can come together, but why do we have to come together under a banner of ethnic erasure? I mean, who does that serve and who does that help? You want me to strip away my identity to basically become a stateless, generic African? Nah, I'm good. And Tara says she's crazy. Everybody is different, just like Puerto Ricans. See, that's why I like Tara. This I couldn't even get through the video. And this is why I put the power of not being the same. It's okay that we're different. I would never go saying, and Mexicans are better than Bolivians, and Bolivians are better than Hondurans. Like, better how? Better based on what metrics? No, they're not better. They're beautiful. Mexicans are beautiful. Colombians are beautiful. Brazilians are beautiful. You know what I mean? Bahamians are beautiful, right? And you said she's both. Oh, Spicy Sanchez, you you the true spicy senorita. But salute to Tara Sanchez. I like Tara, right? And this is what I'm saying, right? It's okay to say that you're both, and it's okay to appreciate both. Why should Tara have to say, no, I'm Mexican and Puerto Rican? However, I'm not going to acknowledge my Puerto Rican side because I'm Mexican and I'm just going to pretend that Mexican culture is interchangeable with Puerto Rican culture. Like, no, it's not. It's really not. I need to be able to highlight and appreciate Puerto Rican culture for its own distinct beauty. And then I will separately appreciate Mexican culture, right? So when they have a Puerto Rican Day festival, there's not a lot of Mexican flags there. There's not a lot of Mexican culture being highlighted that day, nor should it be, right? That's what some people would call division, right? That's delineation. Otherwise, there would be no Cinco de Mayo. There would be no Puerto Rican Day parade. There would be none of this stuff because it would be all collapse. It would be a Latino Day parade where everyone is just there as just a generic Latino. But then ultimately, what are people going to do? They're going to fly their flags and show how different they are. Now, some get bigoted and hateful and vitriolic and say, hey, I'm better. But I don't think you're automatically better because you're different. But I do think that there is a power and a beauty in embracing your differences, right? I don't want to look and say that, hey, you're Colombian. Colombians are Latinos. Latinos love tacos. So you love tacos, right? Well, you're Latino. How could you not love tacos? You Latino. Like, huh? Like nobody wants these generalizations about them. Hey, Cambodians are Asians and, Japanese made sushi, but, you're an Asian as well. So of course you love sushi, right? You know what I mean? These sweeping generalizations, people would find them bigoted, but it's only a particular group where everyone piles on and just wants us to be one big global Negro where everyone else gets to be distinct, right? There's a forced thing to try to call us African and try to make us some long lost displaced Africans to say like, yeah, y'all foundational, but you ain't really from here. Like, huh? But then when I say, okay, cool, but you guys said that the so-called natives immigrated from Asia or Siberia, right? So when did they stop being Asian? And then suddenly the conversation just starts spiraling out of control, right? When did the so-called native stop being Asian? Was it year one? Was it year two? Was it year 100? So they are not Asian anymore because they became a new people on a new land based in the environment, right? But then they try to say, no, you guys didn't become a new people. You're still the same people from hundreds of thousands of years ago. What are we talking about? And salute to Tara. And much love to you. And salute to Frank Nitty, Mr. Gritty, putting on for the biddy. But yeah, I'm a cook tonight. So let me just go ahead and get back into this video. But I appreciate what Tara says so much. She's crazy. Everybody is different. Why do you think they have, I have to use the same talking points for some people to get it through their thick skull. And repetition is the mother of learning. Chinese people are Asian. Japanese people are Asian. Korean people are Asian. Go tell them they're all the same. Hey, you guys all have slanted eyes. You're all the same, right? Nobody would accept that. But with us, so a lot of Asians have slanted eyes, but they don't look at themselves and say, hey, we all have slanted eyes. We're the same. But some melanated people say we all got big noses, so we're the same. Huh? It doesn't make any sense. If all Asians are the same, why do they have a Chinatown? Show me where there's an Asia town. You won't find one because they delineate. They don't want to be under a flat banner of Asianness. Yeah, they'll acknowledge that they're racially classified and categorized as Asian, but that's not enough for them. They care about intellectual sovereignty and ethnic preservation, which is why they have Chinatown. It's not China and Japantown. It's not China and Asia town. It's not China and people of color town. It's Chinatown. And yes, anyone could shop, anyone could partake there, but the power structure, the socio-economic movers and shakers are going to be rooted in Chinese culture. The same thing with Japantown. It's not called Japan and Filipino town. Koreatown is not Koreatown in Cambodia. All of these groups delineate and say, hey, look, yeah, we're all Asian, but we want ethnic and cultural distinction. Nobody would go around and say that, hey, samurai culture should be attributed to Filipinos. Why not? Right? They're all Asian, but then they do that with us. Well, hip hop should be attributed to Senegal. Like, huh? There was nobody in Senegal that created hip hop. Yeah. Burkina Faso. That's where hip hop started. Well, they could take credit because y'all all African. No, we're not. Now let's get back into this thing. Yeah, I mean, after this video, you gonna see the tether fatigue has surpassed levels of 9,000. Let's commence.
Different to say I identify as Black, I identify as Jamaican, I identify as Haitian, I identify as just plain American.
This whole we're all Black is only because they're starting to get deported.
It's not surprising that he is going after Black immigrants in this country, and it's certainly not surprising that he's choosing a Black immigrant.
And look, again, just as for the new people here, you see this on here. Ilhan Omar, a Somali from Africa, doesn't even want to call herself African, right? Mind you, I've never been to Africa, don't have any family members in or from Africa, but there's a forcing for me, call yourself African, you African, right? So I'm American, but there's a forcing You know, it's called identity imposition to try to make me a generic lost African. Meanwhile, the Africans from the continent of Africa that have roots to Africa, we all black. No, you're not. You're Somali. That's what you've been saying this whole time. So now that the ICE truck is ramping up the pressure on them. Hey, my brothers and sisters, the diaspora, we're all black. No, we're not. You know what I mean? Before y'all was calling us Akatas, Abids, Jarirs, and all this stuff, and it's fine. We don't mind being called names, slurs, and epithets. We've always been called stuff. The thing is, we just start calling y'all stuff back. And our slurs are very mild compared to what we've been called. The thing is, it's just there's power in the tongue. And it's who's wielding that power. It's us. So when we use terms like tether, it outweighs all of the toxic epithets that they say for us. See, they use these sweeping generalized terms to talk about all of us. No, we call people that are tethers that undermine us. It's not all immigrants and stuff. But notice this, right? Africans from Africa with roots in Africa don't even call themselves African. They trying to tether on to blackness when back in the day they used to say, bruh, why are y'all calling yourselves black? It's no country called black. And now everyone's black. Like when? Since when? You know what I mean? And you said she's with a dub man, of course, you know what I mean? And of course, she's always talking about dub supremacy. She's talking about smash the patriarchy and all this stuff. And then she goes, gets with a patriarchal dub man. That's what I'm saying, bro. All these other cats, we all black, 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 black. No, you're Somali and you're African. Say it loud, right? Like, see, we created say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Rather than them created say it loud, I'm African and I'm proud, they just tether on to the, hey, we're black too. You're African. And notice this, they try to make African being synonymous with being black, but no, it's not. They put their foot in their mouth by saying Africa is the most racially, ethnically diverse place, but then at the same time they'll try to make African being synonymous with blackness. How? You just said that Africa was racially and culturally diverse. So Africa isn't just about quote unquote black people. It's just you trying to associate it with it. So then they use other terms. Well, sub-Saharan, right? It's supposed to be a geographical term, but that still doesn't speak, you know what I mean? It's still trying to make you a generic African. You were sub-Saharan Africa, probably from West Africa. How many countries is it from West Africa, right? So since they're trying to say, well, you can just claim them all. Like, nah, bruh. You know your family that was in Texas. You know your family from Louisiana. You don't know any family from Angola. You don't know any family from Sudan, right? But you're supposed to pretend that you do. Meanwhile, Ilhan Omar, she does have family in Africa. She immigrated from Africa, but won't call herself African. Make it make sense, bro. And peep this, you're American. When you go to Africa, they identify what you are as American. But then they want a foundational black American to drop the American unless you put African in front of it. But I say, fine, if that's the standard that we're holding and we all black and we all African, then that means everybody has to use it. African Guyanese, African Haitian. Don't bring me no Afro Latino. Don't bring me no Afro Caribbean. I said African, African Haitian, African Ivorian, right? Since y'all love the term African so much, and then they try to pretend, well, it's already understood that we're all African. Well, if it's understood, then why are you trying to force a term upon me, right? If it's understood that Caucasians are European, why do they have to call themselves European? If it's understood that white people are European ancestry, why do they have to call themselves that? And if it's understood that foundational Black American freedmen have some alleged African ancestry, what's with the obsession, right? What's understood need not be explained. And we've been joined by the illustrious Shame and Scandal. Appreciate you for sliding through, Shame and Scandal. Hopefully you are doing well. Let's get back into this.
immigrant community that is also Muslim.
We're not black, we're not Arab, we're Somali.
We are Somalis, not black. There, I said it.
Somalis are not black.
That doesn't change. I could just say I'm black today. I don't have to tell you I'm Haitian. I don't have to tell you anything for you to understand that I am still you.
Might have to drop a dime on them.
When she said, I am still you, like, no, you're not. And that's okay.
4 months. That's all it.
But salute to my bro, the Water God. This is his channel. You can watch this video uninterrupted on his platform.
Everybody is upset with us calling ourselves Foundational Black American, and we understand why now. All right. Before, everybody had their own lineage, rep their flags, and this is where it was from. But this lady is starting to give me vibes of like the 154 podcast. And I told y'all on a previous video that I believe that.
There you go. Shame and scandal coming in. Spicy. Look, I didn't want to go there. I did not want to go there. I had planned on saying that. Now, this chick is Haitian and she's trying to pretend like nobody could tell. Was like, actually, we can. And this is what gets goofy, right? Because if you see someone and then you happen to say, hey, bro, are you Chinese? It's like, how could you tell? How did you know I was Chinese? It's like, I didn't know that you were Chinese. I suspected it. And then I asked you, and then it turns out that you were Chinese, and then you got defensive. So some now, because ICE, is pulling people over and, people are getting thrown in the back of an ICE van. So they're trying to say, y'all nicks, but it's like, bro, we're not immigrants, so we can't be deported. So then when you recognize someone features and know that, hey, there's some people that, are not foundational and they look foundational. There's some people that are foundational that got a non-FBA hairline, right? Like, that's why you have to question. It shouldn't be like hostile. See, what happens is now, because we doing these paperwork checks, people are getting mad like, we all the same. No, we're not the same. And I'm saying it's not bad that we're different. I'm just saying stop pretending we're the same. A jaguar and a leopard are similar. They look the same. Or let me say they look similar, but they're not the same. Same means identical, right? An alligator and a crocodile look similar, but they're not the same. So just because people look similar don't mean they're the same. I'm not saying an alligator is better than a crocodile, like better by what metrics, right? Relative to what? What I'm just saying is they're both different. If you went to a zoo exhibit and there was a jaguar in there and a leopard in there, and then you say, hey, zookeeper, what kind of cats are in there? And you say, hey, they're both jaguars. You're like, no, nah, that one look a little bit different. Well, they're both cats. Yeah, they're both cats, but they're not the same. One is a leopard, one is a jaguar. They grow up in different environments, have different sizes, have different spot patterns. It's okay to acknowledge their differences. I'm not saying a jaguar is better than a leopard. I'm saying it's different. Why are we pretending they're the same cat? To what? Like historically erase? Yeah, so we're not doing that anymore, right? And that's what we've done. We've been collapsed into this flat, generic African Negro banner. So sometimes when you're describing things and you want to appropriately attribute credit, you don't know who you're talking about. Some recent newly arrived immigrant will tether on, I'm African American. Like, nah, you're African, right? And then when they have an opportunity, they'll delineate and let you know that they're African. But then how does this make sense? They're African and you're African American? Like, huh? No, fine. You're Nigerian. And that's okay. Like when you win an award, you're going to pull out a Nigerian flag. When you get a master's degree, you're going to pull out a Nigerian flag. When you come to the cookout, let us know that you're from Nigeria. You still invited to the cookout, but we just letting you know that, like, hey, we may not have Jollof here, right? Like we FBAs, bro. You know what I mean? We don't have Jollof, you know what I mean? We have, jambalaya and gumbo, you know what I mean? And you can talk about the similarities, but it's not the same, right? We don't have, a goosey and, things like, I'm not saying it's wrong or it's bad or disgusting. I'm just saying that's not part of our culture, right? So you would be bringing a different cultural cuisine and we would accept and respect that. We wouldn't pretend that, hey, you brought some a goosey or some, you feel me, you know, some honey roasted hyena back, right? Eh, Hey, you know what I mean? We're gonna be like, hey, thanks for the contribution. This ain't our culture, but we gonna see what it do. You feel me? It's okay to celebrate our differences, you know what I mean? But yeah, this makeup is, you know, a lot of these and I'm not saying that some FBA women don't do this, but a lot of the non-FBAs, there's a lot of like cake soap and colorist things going on too. People don't want to talk about that as well. On the African continent and in the Caribbean, there's a lot of these, and this chick is from the Caribbean, right? There's a lot of chicks that want to like lighten their skin, but it's like this not how you really look. So who are you trying to impress? And then typically the people that they're trying to impress is a zaddy. So you feel me? Like is giving off divestment zaddy chaser, but hey, do you boo love who you love? But like man, heavy on the man. Some of that makeup, it be looking like Betty Crocker cake frosting. Like, what man is truly asking for that? I know a lot of chicks is like, I ain't doing it for no man. It's like, so are you a lesbian? No. So it's like, so you're not a lesbian and you want to attract a good man, but then the good man is like lay off on the cake soap with the makeup, and then then they start talking about you got, little penis energy and all this stuff. It's like, okay, what type of energy do you have where you despise yourself so much that you gotta smear it with all of this cake soap? I'm just saying, different is not the same, period. No, it's not. And I don't know what this obsession is of trying to make us all the same, right? Even think about apples, right? Apples are the same. Are those red apples the same as those green apples? They're all apples. Yeah, it's not the same. Same means identical, right? Yeah, we can point out the similarities. Similarity doesn't mean they're the same. There's a beauty. There may be a time where I want the red apples, right? You may want an apple pie, but you like make sure you use the red ones. And then you may want to make a candy apple and you say make sure you use the green ones, right? So I know when I make the candy apples, I'll always use the green ones. It's something about those green apples, they just hit when it's a candy apple. I never really had a candy red apple like that. Not to say that I wouldn't eat one. I'm just saying it's okay to be different. You said they always represent their flag. So peep this, they represent their flag. But then when we represent our American flag, then they trying to say, oh, y'all just trying to be like, the dub man and all this stuff. It's like, bro, why are you trying to act like America is so bad and you fled your homeland? Trump called your homeland a SHIT hole. And still you fled here. You didn't try to stay and build anything, right? So I kind of really don't want to hear y'all complaining. We're the ones who stood on business and represented our blood, sweat, and tears is in that flag. It was a foundational Black American sister, Grace Swisher, who helped sew the original flag, right? How many people could truly say that about their home flag? You just only flying your flag because you were born there, or your family said, hey, look, this is where we're from. But a lot of people don't have a cultural or a lineage connection to the flag outside of, them just being born there. Green apple is tardy. Yes, I love that. We got neck bone soup. Yeah, and they got other stuff. They got like a goosey soup. Other people, other groups be eating plantains, nan and curry. Like I said, bush meat sometimes, the lemon peppered leopard legs, or you feel me, the glazed giraffe wings, you know what I mean? Or thighs, should I say, since they don't have wings, the glazed giraffe thighs, you know, um, the zebra back with the zucchini. I'm just saying, like, maybe that stuff is delicious. I'm just saying we don't have access to that cuisine, so our foods be different, and it's okay. You said some of those others be having big noses. Yeah, it's a lot of cats that got big noses, but this the whole thing, right? No one goes around Asians and say, because y'all, many of y'all have slanted eyes, y'all the same. But then they come to us, well, if y'all got a big nose, and that just means y'all the same and you came from Africa. Like, no, I didn't. But let's get back into this thing.
A lot of these podcasts are being funded by like the DNC. I ain't gonna put a specific on it, but it's being funded politically because just like when Jesse Jackson gave us that African American term, that was political. That wasn't just, somebody from the grassroots saying that.
Yes, and that's real. The whole, and this lets you know how that African American term was political. I literally never called myself African American. Like, I'll pay somebody, like, if they can find any like documentation or of me like proudly say it loud, I'm African American and I'm proud. Like, it just never happened. Like, you know what I mean? Our culture has always been rooted in blackness, even though despite others, like the whole time there's been a bunch of people, even people that was from the lineage, telling us to stop calling ourselves black. Whether somebody wants to identify as Moorish, Hebrew, Israelite, and all this stuff, it always comes back to blackness. When they don't get traction with whatever identity they have, then they come and try to shame and black people and try to pretend, see, stay woke, I'm American Indian, all this other stuff. And I'm like, I'm not saying that you're not, but what you're trying to say is that you're different than me. And if you are different than me, then why does it matter? If you're an American Indian and I'm a foundational black American, but you're saying we're the same lineage, like, bro, why are you trying to fight me over how I identify? Let's just stand on business. But then they'll try to make it seem like, oh, they're fighting, and the reason why you ain't getting justice is because you trying to identify as a color. You need to identify as a tribe. Then when I say, well, your tribe is not federally recognized, well, see, that's your problem. You trying to get the white man to recognize you. It's like, bruh, it's like, what country are we in, bruh? So you're trying to pretend as if you have some tribal sovereignty, but you have no more traction than people. You hear people talking about foundational black American. You hear people attacking. People ain't attacking someone that's calling themselves American Indian, Aboriginal, or anything like that. And notice there's other terms, right? American descendant of slaves, so on, and all this other stuff. They're not heavily attacking these terms because people don't feel as if they got enough cultural traction. So that's all it's about. But as the term African American, there was no like poll taken of the majority of the population to see if we wanted to be called that. They just forced and imposed that on us. It's something called identity imposition. But if you look at it, when there was a quote unquote Gallup poll, we preferred to be called black. After that, it was Afro American. And third, it was African American. So African American, that was like the last option. And they said, yeah, well, we gonna call you nigs, whatever we want. And then they got some of the buck broken boule, the DNC, the big wigs, the oligarchs, and said yes, and they pretended as if, hey, black is just, they try to pretend as if black was just this very vague, nebulous, disgusting term. However, if you call yourself African, then you will be empowered. But all it was try to make us comparable with immigrants. You know what I mean? Because, hey, when you think about an Irish American, oh, well, you came from Ireland. Italian American, oh, from Italy. African American, you're from Africa, but we're not from Africa. And this is the whole thing. Even though we built the country before it was here, right? We're part of the foundational stock. They still want you to say, no, 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 but you're from Africa, right? But like I said, it's a double standard because they'll acknowledge that these quote unquote so-called natives came from Asia, but they could never tell you when they stopped becoming Asian, right? They speak to what's called an ethnogenesis. Well, these people aren't the only ones that can have an ethnogenesis. Once you have an admixture of a completely, right now, there's nowhere on the continent of Africa that has a mixture of freedmen, formerly enslaved people, indigenous people, and European people mixing together. You know what I mean? That you don't have that on the continent right now. You know what I mean? So to try to pretend like you can get this same mixture year after year after year, right? There was a unique population under unique circumstances and conditions. It's not like the same population, right? But we're trying to pretend that it is based on this racial pseudoscience, right? Because all of these things, you know, humans share 99.9% of DNA. So if people believe that race is a biological reality, they go back and forth. No, race is a biological reality. Okay, then what race are the Native Americans? There's no race called Native American. There's no race called indigenous. And then suddenly they're just like, nah, seriously, right? Since race is a biological reality, what race are they? Because there's a bunch of so-called natives now that look like Justin Bieber and Macaulay Culkin. So are they the same race as the quote unquote red natives? Right? Because there's no race called native. So yeah, there could be some, you know, white natives, some black natives, right? Some Asiatic natives. But in order for us to be specific, we need to know what race they are. Then they say, oh, well, it's not about race. And, they start talking about race as a social construct. Well, so is a Cherokee, right? There's no race called Cherokee. That's a social construct. There's no race called Choctaw. There's no race called Seminole or Blackfoot. All of these things are social constructs. Creating a border is a social construct. Creating a country, saying that, hey, this country was Turtle Island. No, it's going to be called America. That's a social construct, which is why people say America is an idea that was socially constructed. And in order for the social construct to work, it involves or it requires the social adherence of the populace, right? And Tara says Central and South Americans are still American. Mexicans are American because it's based in North America. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. This is where the terminologies get very nebulous, right? But there is a delineation, right? Because even if someone is a Central American and a South American, they are American. You can't deny that. However, they're definitely not a foundational American. They're definitely not foundationally black. And they're not a they're not from the USA. So that's which some people refuse to do. There is a difference between the USA, right? Just like how there's a difference between the racial classification of black, which is really negroid, right? And just like the white classification is Caucasoid, not necessarily white, right? So people understand that there are differences, which is why these people have to immigrate here. You know what I mean? So that's all it is. I'm not saying that they should be mistreated. And it's the same way there. If I tried to go to South America and say, hey, I'm American, I'm a foundational Black American, they're going to be like, yeah, bruh, yeah, you're going to have to immigrate here and you're going to have to be put in a database, right? In an immigration database. Once you're put in an immigration database, that's a form of delineation to say, hey, we accept you, you're a citizen, we love you because this is a nation of immigrants, right? They'll say that, but they're also putting you in a box to let you know that, hey, we know that you're not of the foundational stock. You know what I mean? And that you might even get preferential treatment because of that, because they'll say, hey, look, they don't come with all of this, traumatic history and baggage of us subjugating and oppressing them. So, we can, prop them up as a buffer group, a model minority, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it gets very sinister, but let's get more into this.
That was a political agenda. Now we got this lady, Sunset Monet, is going around now trying to attach black people together, and she's attaching Haiti to the success of black people here in America. Can't make it up. But before I show y'all what this lady said, check out what our boomer sister is saying about how this came to play and why they doing that.
I am a certified Gen X auntie. Their delineation is not new. They've always done that.
I'm in my 30s trying to eat more protein. This is what I got from Factor this week. Full week of hitting my protein goals with real.
Back before Jesse Jackson decided we should call ourselves African American, we were Black, Negro, not my favorite, and Afro American. But again, like I said, Jesse Jackson decided no.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to do a whole stream on that. Some people get triggered. I had to say to another dude, because they get triggered where Negro and all this other stuff. There was a whole triggering when one dude who was a bigot called Obama a Negro. Now, Obama, technically he wouldn't be classified, as a Negro in the historical sense of what it meant in this country. So people understand and delineate. But to be honest, this is just me personally. I'd rather be called a Negro than an African American. I'm just saying, like, they want to pretend as if being called a Negro is bad, but somehow being called an African or a person of color, right? Those are like erasure terms, right? You know that, people don't have to like it, but like when you hear the terms Black, Negro, it was always rooted here. We can talk about other people were called something and classified as something some other place. But where did it gain notoriety? Who fought and stood on Blackness, right? There's a reason why we had the United Negro College Fund. Show me in the diaspora where they had that, right? Show me in the diaspora where they're trying to talk about Blackness. The only way they do that is when they're trying to appeal to us. So their whole Black identity is trying to appeal to us, oftentimes to get money and to try to tether and assume our roles. Hey, we're all Black, right? So then they can get close to Blackness and then, Black, and then they swap out Black and say African. Africa, mama. It's like, hold on, what? It went from Black to Africa. Then, hey, we all African. And then it turns into you don't know who you are and just the same old spiel, right? And this is what it is. They're trying to usurp Blackness with African, but they don't even want to call themselves African. They pretend as if they're so blackety black. They love Blackness so much. On the continent of Africa, 54 countries. None of them are called Black. And I'm not saying that they should be, but none of them are called that. 3,000 plus tribes. None of them are called Black. So these people who have no connection to Blackness, then suddenly they come over here and we're supposed to pretend that we're all the same and we're all on code based on Blackness, based on skin pigment and a big nose. We got to stop with this goofy stuff.
We need something, more proud, and we're going to call ourselves African Americans now. And for a lot of us, myself included, we actually were proud to call ourselves African Americans. We were proud to say that we had ties to Africa until actual Africans told us, no, we don't. They looked down on us.
Now, this is an older sister right here, and salute to her. She still looks great, but when she said we had ties to Africa and all this other type of stuff, hey, sis.
Who is we? Who is we?
I mean, there was no one in my family. We never talked about Africa. There was never no ties to Africa. There was never any cousin, no grandma, no one that we knew in Africa. So this whole ties to Africa is like some myth and a fable that you've been told. And I'm not saying that no one or none of us have ties, but no, once you've been rooted in this land for so long, all of the ties had been severed. So now they want to try to make a phenotypical genetic argument like, hey, look at your big nose and where you think that come from. Okay, cool, right? Is, Africa the only place where people have big noses? Is Africa the only place where people have melanated skin, right? Even white people have melanin, right? Even white is a color, which is why it's so idiotic to be going around using the term person of color because there was no group classified as colored in this country other than foundational freedmen, right? Colored is calling someone colored is bad, but a person of color is good. It just doesn't make any sense. But no, I don't have any ties to Africa. I have love for Africa. I want to see Africa thrive and flourish. In order for that to happen, the best African minds need to stop fleeing Africa. The fighters and the enforcers of Africa need to be in Africa. If you was trying to clean up Oakland, but you're always in Philadelphia, how are you going to, mount a defense against the gangs and the corruption and all this other type of stuff, right? If you're always in Philadelphia, right? So if you're always outside of Africa, and not even talking about Africa, you're talking about America and what Americans need to do in support of Africa, you're not really serious about building anything. And yeah, like I said, I don't have any ties, I don't mind doing business there, but I got too much business to do here first. So that's where my focus is. Freedmen first, America first. But not only because I am a humanitarian, I love people of various racial, ethnic, cultural backgrounds and orientations.
Because we were the descendants of slaves. And I'm going to tell you when it really clicked for me and I stopped using the term African American and I went just back to being Black or Black American. Back in, I think, 2000, the Real World, I can't remember which iteration of the Real World, but I do remember that the cast member's name was Melissa Howard. And they were taking the cast to South Africa. And she was half Black and half Filipino. And she was so excited to go to South Africa and connect with who she thought were her people. And they immediately shut her down and let her know, no, you shouldn't be using the term African American. You're just an American. And you can look this up. I didn't make this up. Like I said, I can't remember which iteration of Real World it was, but I do know that they went to South Africa, and I do know that they told that woman that she shouldn't be calling herself African American. And I said, well, fuck, I'm not either. This whole we're all Black is only because they're starting to get deported. And now it's finally clicking to them that what we've been saying all along, that when you come here to the United States and you look like this, they don't care where you come from. And that is the only reason why they're now all of a sudden, we're all Black. Baby, keep that same delineation energy on your way home.
Now, we just heard our certified Gen X auntie, right? Which made perfect sense. Now, listen to Sunset Monet. Check this out.
We as a people have to understand that race, ethnicity, and nationality doesn't make us any different. It doesn't make us.
And shout out to mi amiga Tara Sanchez. She already called this out. This is what you call some baby bop, bushmeat, bimbo babble. Hey, shawty, hey, I gotta hit you.
What? Hope, please.
Nigga, please.
Hope.
Nigga, what?
Nigga, please.
Nigga, please.
What?
So she's acting like she dropped some heavy game. Well, we gotta understand it's a difference between race, ethnicity, and nationality. It's like, come on, man. That's like saying 2 + 2 is 4. It's like the sky is blue, like you didn't cook. That was very basic. That was extremely rudimentary. We do understand. So, and I'm not going to say all, because there are some people that are pretty goofy with that, but she's going to be very, you know, she's going to be very dismissive and disparaging, while at the same time trying to pretend as if she's trying to unite us. It's rather disgusting, but we're going to break this down. But salute to Big Rig, Mr. 350 slid off in the building. Let's get right back into this little cake soap queen, this toxic tether tirade coming right up. Let's commence.
Doesn't make us any different. It doesn't make us any different.
Exactly.
We as a people have to understand that.
So let's just start with the we as a people. We as a people, we?
Who is we? Who is we?
I definitely don't want to hear no we as a people from no Haitian. I just don't. And I'm not trying to single out Haitian because I love Haitians. I'm just saying this woman happens to be allegedly Haitian. You want to talk about they share an island with the Dominican Republic. The island is called Hispaniola. So when you're talking about we as a people, you need to go tell the Dominicanos that, right? We the same people. Instead, they're fighting each other, smacking each other over the head. So black, quote unquote, black Haitians can't unite with black Dominicans, and they share the same island. And then we're supposed to pretend that the quote unquote black Dominicans who say, I know black, and it was other Haitians who said, I know black, I'm Haitian, right? We're supposed to pretend that both of these populations are coming over here to what? Unite with us and form the blackity black Voltron? What are we? Come on, man. What are we doing here? Why are we playing and pretending these games? If fine, I'm not saying that we shouldn't unite, but y'all need to show me something first. So imagine someone is living next door to their neighbor and they can't even get along with their neighbor, but you think they finna drive all the way thousands and thousands of miles away and get along with another random person just because they all got big noses. Okay. What world does that make sense to you? Where they do that at, right? We're all brothers and sisters. Okay, well, your Haitian brothers and sisters are sharing the same island with your Dominican brothers and sisters. Y'all need to unite first. So how about y'all come as a united front? Y'all come as a united Haitian and Dominican Republic front, and then we can unite, right? But instead, that's not what's happening. There's a lot of hatred and vitriol for each other. And these same groups come over and they can be classified as Latino, or they can classify as mixed, or they can classify as quote unquote African American. Because we all the same? No, we're not. I can't classify as Latino. I'm not Latino, but they can. So how is that? How are we the same? You're supposed to be convinced that you're the same as a dark-skinned Dominican because you both got big noses. But he has a big nose and he speaks Spanish and he's Latino, but you're still the same. And he's Afro-Latino. It's like, hold on, huh? So he can choose to be Latino or he can choose to be African-American because we're all the same. No, we're not.
Race, ethnicity, and nationality doesn't make us any different. It doesn't make us any different to say I identify as black, I identify as Jamaican, I identify as Haitian, I identify as just plain American. That doesn't change. I could just say I'm black today. I don't have to tell you I'm Haitian. I don't have to tell you anything for you to understand that I am still you. And when I look at
that doesn't make any sense. I'm not Haitian. I'm not Jamaican. So she said, well, you can identify as Jamaican. You can do all this stuff, but I'm still you. Like, no, by you saying that you're Jamaican, you're saying that you're something other than me. And that's okay. I don't want you to mask and hide your identity under a banner of flat blackness. But this chick is not making any sense. It's really not. She's trying to say, well, we're no different. And then she goes on a diatribe to explain how we are different. But yeah, just don't point out the differences. Huh? This is, man, I got tether fatigue, bruh. Let's run that back one more again. We all different, but we the same, even though we different, and we can still be the same, but we different. And then like, we just got to come together based on difference, but we the same. Like, bro, what are you talking about, chick?
Come on in. Check this out.
We as a people have to understand that race, ethnicity, and nationality doesn't make us any different. It doesn't make us any different to say I identify as Black, I identify as Jamaican, I identify as Haitian, I identify as just plain American. That doesn't change. I could just say I'm Black today. I don't have to tell you I'm Haitian. I don't have to tell you anything for you to understand that I am still you. And when I look in the mirror,
Now, do y'all hear this? This is definitely new to us. Just like our Gen X auntie said, we have always been seeing everybody else associate where they come from and their culture, which is fine. They delineate. Now that I guess, like auntie said, I guess deportations is coming, and now is all it is flat blackness.
go outside in this world, when these Caucasians look at us, they see us as one people, Black. But the problem is, a group of people that don't know their identity can.
Again, you see what I'm saying? Y'all don't know who y'all are. Y'all don't know your identity. We do know who our identity. That's why we said that we're Black. You want us to call us a generic African and then say, oh, well, yeah, you're really from Nigeria or you're really from some other places. Like, no, you're not. And even those DNA tests, there's a reason that they say for entertainment purposes only. If you take a DNA test and it says you're 95% Nigerian, and then you go to Nigeria and say, hey, look at my DNA test, I'm 95% Nigerian. Do you think they're going to see you as a Yoruba or Igbo or as a Nigerian? Yeah, even if they adopt you as a citizen, you'll be a citizen that's an immigrant, as a foreigner. They won't see you as their brothers and sister from the motherland, while they're trying to convince you that you are from the motherland. As soon as you go to the quote unquote motherland, they let you know, yeah, you ain't from here, right? They might accept you, they might get some money out of you, but it's under the understanding that, yeah, bro, you ain't really from here like that. So this chick is just all over the place.
Blackness.
Go outside in this world, when these Caucasians look at us, they see us as one people, Black.
And we got to stop doing that, right? Oh, when they see us, when the cops pull us over, when the Caucasians see us, they only see a nigga. It's like, bruh, my identity isn't based on what some non-Black person sees me as. And this is what their identity is. They're always trying to connect to us based on trauma. Well, we was enslaved. Well, the white man treated me bad too. It's like, bro, our identity is more than that, right? We survive, we thrive, we flourish without our identity being attached to the dominant society. And many of these people, they have a certain level of disdain and vitriol where they point to us and think that we got lucky and hit the racial lottery. Like, y'all lucky, y'all got to be next to, Mr. Zaddy. Because as much as these quote unquote Black nations, and shout out to Jason Black, the Black Authority, he talked about this, right? In the Caribbean, you know what I mean? The black people, but I'm specifically talking about the women right now. The Black women grow up around, there's literally no white dudes around, but somehow many of them, if not the majority of them, have always had an experience with a pink popsicle penetrating their punani. How is this always happening? There's literally no Lily Dubs around, but they somehow find, a way to, jump on, like I said, the pink popsicle. And the dudes do it too, right? They're around all these quote unquote Jamaican or Caribbean sisters. And the moment, you feel me? The moment they get a chance, where the white women at? You feel me? Some of these cats really just worship, the lily cooch. You know what I mean? The lily cooch and the lily penis, you know what I mean? Even though there's none around them. Then they come over here and then try to pretend y'all lazy and why y'all always complaining. They're saying why you always complaining because they don't want to make massive mad because they're trying to get next to, you know what I mean? Like I said, the lily penis and punani. Let's just be real about that. Not all, but a significant and a problematic amount.
But the problem is, a group of people that don't know their identity cannot be rewarded reparations.
So again, why are you even talking about reparations? You're not eligible. You're Haitian. So they have their own fight. Think about this. Haiti had to pay reparations to France to the tune of billions and billions. So y'all need to go get your lick back there. Instead, they trying to come over here. Which black group does the most fighting? And then they come over here and say, we deserve reparations and we did this and we fought and we did the so. Like, who is we? Like, you came over here in 2005.
Who is we? Who is we?
And this is what I'm saying. This is why I got tether fatigue. All these people come over. Hey, look, MLK had a big nose. I got a big nose. So that means that, hey, we have a dream too. And we fought in the civil rights and we got dog sick on us. Like, no, you didn't. Right? You didn't even fight in your homeland, right? And hey, I'm sure you were scared, right? But if you're scared, go to church. If you're scared, don't come over here and start trying to bark out orders to a foundational population that stood on business. We fought in every war here. We didn't fight in any wars in Africa. And many of the people fleeing from Africa, y'all didn't fight in any wars there. So again, what fighting were you doing? The only fighting you were doing was to get the heck out of your homeland, the motherland that you love so much, right? Okay.
That is why we
and
never
that's what
got
it's about.
reparations.
It is about reparations. That was the big argument is. Let's just say that.
The issue is if we do not.
Man, the makeup, man, look at this, bro. Like, hold on. Like, who, the cake soap is.
In this world, when these Caucasians look at us, they see us as one people, black. But the problem is, a group of people
No, they
that
don't.
don't know their identity cannot be rewarded reparations. That is why we
And
never
that's what
got
it's about.
reparations.
It is about.
Look at this makeup, bro. Like, the cake soap is like, chick, you're not this light, right? And you don't need to be this light to look beautiful, right? And there's a lot of brothers that say, hey, look, sister, I will holler at you, but lay off some of the makeup. And then they start saying, hey, Brad will like me like this. Yeah, because, you're exhibiting signs of self-loathing and disdainment, right? Because, we said, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud, whatever shade you come in, right? We got blue black people, we got copper colored people, which most of us are, we got light skinned people, which we call red bones, and we got people as light as Steph Curry, right? There's a wide spectrum of quote unquote foundational blackness in this country. I mean, we never was advocating if you're dark, and we're going to appreciate the beauty of your darkness. They used to say, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. You know what I mean? And even though there are times in terms of beauty standards, in terms of societal treatment, where there is sometimes what some would call a pretty light skin privilege. But I'm just saying, like this makeup, it just don't even look good. I don't know who's asking for this, but I don't even know if any of these chicks are foundational. There's there's one other chick on the panel that may be allegedly foundational, but see, this is the thing. This is why we have to get the language so codified, because somebody will say, oh, well, I'm I'm Black American, but they're like really Jamaican, but they don't want to identify with their Jamaican history because they've grown up in America their whole time. But it's like, yeah, but both of your parents were Jamaican immigrants. So just because you grew up in America and you grew up around foundationals, like, why do you want to strip, your Jamaican foundation, right? Your Jamaican ethnicity is because you're not truly proud of it, but then they'll get proud of it when they win, right? Like I said, if there's a degree, then suddenly a random Jamaican flag comes out. You like, bro, what the hell? I didn't know you were Jamaican. Same thing with Busta Rhymes, right? I grew up listening to Busta Rhymes. I've never heard anything Jamaican about him. He gets older and now he keeps talking about Americans ain't got no culture, Jamaican this, Jamaican that, bumper clot. It's like, bro, huh? When did you become Jamaican? He was always Jamaican. He was just tethering and cosplaying as a foundational. He literally didn't mention anything about Jamaican. Never seen him with a Jamaican flag ever. Now you almost can't catch him without one, and that's fine. But just don't try to wag your fingers and don't try to pretend as if this was your culture. You couldn't rock with your Jamaican culture. That's why you had to tether on to ours. Even Cool Herc, he came over here, he tried to play his Jamaican stuff, and cats wasn't rocking with it. Wasn't saying it was, all we said was, hey, bro, that ain't our cup of tea. So he had to do what was popular with the foundational population. And then since he was emulating and imitating us, then it pretends like, hey, he started this. How could he start something that he copied off of us? It just doesn't make any sense. It's the same thing with Christopher Columbus. He discovered America. How could he discover something when someone was already there and set up shop? Clearly, people have discovered it before him. How could Cool Herc have started something where people was doing it well before he even came on the scene, right? So say someone came and took advantage of something, but to say that they started and created something is a stretch and a disrespectful one at that. You said facts and colorists added. Yeah, and colorism is just an extension and an aspect, a bug and a feature of white supremacy, right? So when women bleach their skin, isn't that being colorist? Yeah, it's being colorist and it's being kooky, but they don't see it that way. And actually they turn it around and blame the men and say, well, man, you was with all those snow bunnies, you was with all those Latinas, and then when you got with a quote unquote sister, she was a light-skinned chick, so I'm only lightening my skin because this what y'all want. They try to pretend as if they're doing it to attract the men. Same thing when they get like BBLs and all this other stuff. Well, y'all following all those OnlyFans chicks and they got BBLs. It's like you didn't get a BBL for no dude. You got it for yourself. And if you attract dudes, fine, but stop pretending like you saw a dude, you loved him so much and was like, baby, it is for you. Like, no, it's not. You got a BBL so you can be for the streets. And hey, I'm pro ho. Just stop pretending like you got it to be. No one says, I want to be a wifey. And in order to do that, I'm going to secure, a boob and a butt job. I mean, where they do that at?
Reparations. That was a big argument. Let's just say that.
The issue is if we do not claim or know our roots, then we can never be awarded for it. The reason why
our roots are here, and this is so stupid. She's trying to say, oh, we can never be awarded for it. So like, what are you talking about? My roots are here, and she's Haitian, so your roots are different. So why are you trying to pretend it's the same, right? 1804 is just not the same as just any random slave revolt. This is just getting pathetic. You said LARPers need consequences. Yeah, they do need consequences now. I wouldn't discuss those consequences online because it takes organization. But yeah, I am all for consequences. There does have to be a social penalty for people just doing all of this toxic tethering and lying.
why the Jews, the reason why Asians have bills and everybody else has these things is because they know clearly who and how to identify.
Again, she's saying Asians. Well, the Asians have this because they know how to identify. Yeah, we know how to identify, but everything we identify, they say that we are. If we say we African American, well, we African American too. All right, we black. Well, we black too. All right, we Black American. Well, I'm black and I'm in America and I'm an American citizen, so I'm a Black American too. So it's not that we've tried to identify. Even right now, I don't call myself a person of color, but if I did say, hey, I'm a person of color, they're trying to identify as that too. If I'm a minority, well, I'm an immigrant. I'm a minority too. Every term that we have that is quote unquote supposed to be specifically for us, they want to try to leech and tether on to it, right? If even think about this, there's African immigrants from the continent to immigrate here, and they'll come over and call themselves African American, right? But then they'll also pivot and say, I'm African. So what does that mean? That you're African? Because that's fine if you want to say that you're an African, but they don't do that. They'll say, oh, I'm African American. Well, I'm black too, and that's the problem. See, that divide and conquer, man, we all black. It's like, bro, go preach this in your motherland, bro. Go preach this on the continent. You're around people that you can't even speak to because you guys speak a different dialect. And those are people that look closer to your brothers and sisters than me. And salute to the New Orleans fam, the 504 boy. Woody. Salute to Braxton. Like I said, I won't be here too much longer, but man, I got a headache, bro. I will try to go longer. I may come back and do a longer stream to, break down some of the nonsense in full. But, I got tether fatigue.
I'm so disheartened at this conversation. I don't have no more else to say besides the fact that y'all are hard to love. This community is very hard to love.
Now, did y'all hear that? Y'all are hard to love. Like, who is the y'all? So remember, she kept saying we this and we. Now she's saying y'all. Hey, Tetherana.
Bitch, are you high? Are you high?
So it went from we to y'all. Okay. Who is the y'all that she's referring to? Because I thought we all black. So why are you talking about y'all? Like, isn't she included in the y'all? Y'all are hard to love. Y'all are hard to love. Like, how many family members that you have that some of your family members are hard to love? Would you get on a podcast and talk about how hard to love it is of your family members, right? If we all the same and we all black and we are the one and we are the children and kumbaya, why are you getting on a podcast talking about we're hard to love? Because what is that trying to say? If we're hard to love, you're essentially saying that some other group is easy to love. What group is easy to love? We've already established we're hard to love. Fine, I ain't gonna argue. All right, we're hard to love. What group is easy to love? That would have been my follow-up, and then you will see exactly what this, Tether, who's probably dripping in Zaddy juice, what she really thinks about us. This is rather disgusting.
We do not claim or know our roots, then we can never be awarded for it. The reason why the Jews, the reason why Asians have bills and everybody else has these things is because they know clearly who and how to identify.
Oh, damn, my bad, bro. I was on mute. But yeah, I know you said I've yet to hear them say I'm African Dominican, African Puerto Rican, African Brazilian, African Jamaican, West Indian, and African Virgin Islander. And this is what I have been saying is that, yeah, you're not going to hear them say it, but you're going to hear me say it. So if someone that says they're Haitian, oh, you're African Haitian. Hey, what's up, my brother? What's up, my African Haitian brother? Hey, where you from? You from Brazil? Oh, you're African Brazilian. No, I'm Brazilian. No, you're African Brazilian, right? So, see, I guess great minds think alike because I've never even seen that video, but I have been saying this for a while now. Notice that everybody gets to have this intellectual sovereignty. They'll say Haitians are African, but they just don't need to call themselves African. Jamaicans are African. They just don't need to call themselves African. And just go down the list. Guyanese people, African, don't need to call themselves African, right? Bahamians, African. And then you go down the list and then you say, okay, foundational Black American freedmen. No. Y'all can't use that term. Y'all African American. You African, and that's the problem. You don't know where you came from and all. It's like, bro, what? Well, and then if you say, well, I do know where I came from. My family did come from Africa, but you know what? We had an ethnogenesis, so we're no longer just a random African group. We have African ancestry and genetics and some phenotypical similarities, but we became a different group. And, you know, that group is foundational Black American freedmen. No, 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 you can't call yourself African. It's like, come on, bruh. What are we doing? No, I'm not African. But let's go back into it.
I am so disheartened at this conversation. I don't have no more else to say besides the fact that
If you're disheartened at this conversation, why are you having it? This is just so disingenuous. See, this conversation just hurts my heart. It's like, well, why are you having it? No one told her to go on this toxic tether tirade.
roots, then we can never be awarded for it. The reason why the Jews, the reason why Asians have bills and everybody else has these things is because they know clearly who and how to identify. I am so disheartened at this conversation. I don't have no more else to say besides the fact that y'all are hard to love. This community is very hard to love. I don't even know what to say to that, because then what are we going to get rid of Malcolm X? His mother was from Grenada. Marcus Garvey was from
Marcus Garvey was a suspected tether. Malcolm X. So this is the thing. They always do this. Malcolm X, his mother was from Grenada. Where was his daddy from, though? Why are you erasing his daddy? His daddy was a foundational Black American. And notice when they try to say you are the seed of your father, except if your daddy's FBA. Yeah, but his mama was Grenadian, though. Find me a video of Malcolm X talking about that he identifies as a Caribbean. You won't find the videos, but you will find the videos of him standing proudly on Blackness. And this is the issues with some people that are bi-ethnic. They try to pick and choose based on what gives them an advantage, right? If someone is bi-ethnic and they say, hey, they have a Caribbean parent, it's still ultimately up to them how they identify. If someone has a Jamaican parent and a foundational Black American parent and they were more rooted in Jamaican culture, even though they're foundational Black American on half of their parents, they can still say, yeah, but like I grew up as a Jamaican, so I identify as a Jamaican. Like, we're not going to try to force and say, no, but you foundational. It's like, yeah, based on ancestry and genetics, but people have a right to intellectual sovereignty and to identify how they choose, obviously within reason, right? I'm not talking about the transracial stuff. So people have to stop trying to project identity onto people and definitely stop trying to project Blackness. That's called proselytizing and identity imposition. No, we're not all Black and it's okay, right? And then even if we are all Black, because first of all, we're not, but let me just do my argumentative strategy, which is called CTP, concede the point. And I'm doing this facetiously, right? So even if I can see the point and say that we're all Black, well, we're not all foundationally Black Americans. And that's okay as well. We're just saying that there's a distinction, right? Japanese, Koreans, Cambodians, they're all Asian, right? And I'm not saying one or the other is better, but I'm saying there are ethnic, cultural, and very distinct differences. And it's okay for us to acknowledge that. And that's the same thing with us, right? We're not just the same as a Nigerian just because you may see one with a big nose and think that we have a big nose. I can't stand it when people move goalposts. Well, this whole tether conversation is all about moving the goalposts because they want to make us foreigners and they want to make us generic Africans so they can say y'all are the generic Africans who don't know where y'all from. However, we are the real ones. Hey, I know where I'm from. I speak my language. What language do you speak? This whole thing about speaking languages is like, what's the point of speaking your own language when you're going to flee your homeland, right? You speak your language from your homeland, but you fled your homeland. So what power do you think is in that? So they want to flex on you that their homeland was destabilized. So they fled here to America, the land where my ancestors built. And I'm supposed to be proud of them because they created an ethnic enclave where they speak their own language. Well, yeah, because we got power and all this other stuff. No, you got handouts. The government gave you goodies, giveaways, and guarantees. I've already broke it down, but all you have to do is just type in any random thing. What programs are available for immigrants? What programs are available for refugees? They'll tell you, hey, pull yourself up by your bootstrap, and then they'll turn around and say, hey, here's a refugee resettlement fund. How many of you guys have ever had access to a resettlement fund? Why are taxpayers and NGOs funded by taxpayers oftentimes? Why should they be on the hook for non-citizens to get resettled? I'm just saying, there's many of people that have been in toxic relationships, abusive relationships, and they just need a little bit of help, right? Just a little bit of resettling, and then, the trajectory of their life will change. And they say, shut up, you're an American, pull yourself up by your bootstrap. But suddenly we should have a bleeding heart for someone from a different land because they told you this is a nation of immigrants. Yeah, this is also a nation of laws as well, right? It's a nation of opportunity. And it's the only opportunity to give goodies, giveaways to non-citizens and then frame it as they work so hard. I mean, I could work hard too if you give me a loan and 10-year free tax status, you know.
Are you single? Maybe you're divorced or new in town. It's time to meet your match with Events and Adventures.
Now you just spewing lies. And it was another one that she said, y'all, about, I guess, Haitian people. We made it so we had Black Wall Street. Just very disrespectful things. But it's coming off to me as this is like another 154
And this is
podcast.
another thing that they lying. Y'all wouldn't have had Black Wall Street if it wasn't for Haiti. I love Haiti. Salute to Haiti, sac passe, salute to all my Haitians out there. But let's just stop, right? Where's the Haitian Black Wall Street? And then Haitians wasn't even calling themselves black. They were calling themselves noir. And they say noir means black. Well, if it means black, just say noir, right? Because then we'll know what you're saying, right? If you say noir, we'll know what it means. But they won't even use that term. They'll say, hey, we have our own form of the N word. It's called nig. Yeah, but you're not saying nig. You're saying nigga, right? You're not saying noir. You're saying black. You have your own terms. Like, why won't you use your own terms? Like, it's all these other groups, they just want to use our terms or the terms that we made popular, right? We said, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Why didn't you have said loud, I'm noir and I'm proud? Well, it means the same thing. No, I mean, it's not the same word, right? Noir comes from, French people. Negro comes from Portuguese people, right? So even if it's, similar and it's all about the context and all this other stuff, right? So, just saying.
With the Caribbeans. Just like they got Vic Mensa coming out with his podcast. They trying to flood the algorithm with their talking points politically.
So if you're going to get rid of your prominent leader.
And notice there's been a extra ramping up of, like, they're mad. Like, I had one dude come over here, right? He said, I'm a Black American. Like, and he was pissed, bro. And I was like, okay, bro, like, bro, I'm a Black American. Yeah, but you said you foundational. And then he started bringing up Tariq. I'm like, bro, I don't know Tariq Nasheed, bro. Like, salute to the bro. Yeah, but it's a cult, man. It's a cult. It's like, okay. It's like, bro, I said, I'm a Black American. You're a Black American, right? I was like, so the only word that you're triggered by is foundational. Like, could you really make that make sense? Because people try to act like saying that you're a Black American is just codified enough. Cynthia Erivo, who is a Nigerian Brit, she's considered Black American. She's a quote unquote Black woman with American citizenship. So under the nebulous vagueness of that term, she's a Black American. But when you add the foundational, no, you're not that. It doesn't mean that I'm better. It just means that I'm different. And it's okay to recognize a distinct population, right? We recognize all these quote unquote natives, even though there's a bunch of, again, people that are Lily W who are indigenous and native to Europe, but now they're Native Americans. Fine. Okay. Why isn't there a push to say, hey, you guys are all the same? There's over 500 plus federally recognized tribes. none of them are saying they're the same. They're not trying to tear down the other tribes, but they're saying, no, we're not the same. That's why there's over 500 different ones. No one is calling that divisive. Matter of fact, they make arguments for why they should be divided and have disaggregation of data and all this stuff. But with us, we have to pretend as if we're just one big global Negro. Well, at the same time, they'll say, well, black people are not a monolith. And then they'll turn around and say, we all the same. And if the cops pull us over, no, we're not the same. And my identity isn't based on if the cops pull me over. It's not.
That was the trailblazers to a lot of the movements that we've had in this country, okay? And even to the fact that I can't own the fact that my people were the reason we're sitting here is because we revolted.
Huh? Yeah. Bruh. This is...
Bitch, are you high? Are you high?
Hope, please.
Nigga, please.
Hope.
Nigga, what?
Nigga, please.
Nigga, please.
She said, my people are the reason that you're sitting here?
Right.
What the heck is she talking about? So if her people are the reason that she's sitting here, why aren't you in your homeland? No, seriously, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying, you're saying that your people are so great and they're so great at building, yet you had to flee. Okay, like what great building was done? I'm not saying that it wasn't done. It's just like you should be able to name it. Instead, she's saying the reason why you're here. It's like, no, it's not. When we were fighting for civil rights here, it had nothing to do with Haiti. When we survived Jim Crow here, it had nothing to do with Haiti. When we built up Black Wall Street, it had nothing to do with Haiti. And it wasn't just one Black Wall Street. It was a multitude of them. Salute to Haiti, right? Like I would have wanted Haiti to thrive then as much as I wanted to thrive now. But we have to just stop pretending, with this revisionist history that there was some sort of revolt. Most people don't know the history of Haiti now. We're in the information age where you have Chat GPT at your fingertips and people still don't know about the Haitian Revolution and all this stuff. So you can convince me that back then everybody, they flew a pigeon and got the memo. Like, come on, bro, just stop with the lies.
And we said no more. And we helped so many people. I can't even.
We helped so many people.
We? Who is the we? And if you help so many people, who did you help? And help by what? So they're saying they helped us, because we revolted, right? You helped by revolting, but then the French doubled back and smacked you up and then made you pay reparations, which I'm not trying to make light of that. But why aren't she telling about that part, right? So she's saying, well, we got our freedom because France came back and made y'all pay reparations? Huh?
They gotta stop this, family. Where have you seen, think about it like this. Where have you seen anybody in any country, right, fight for their country and then go out and say that they're gonna go help other countries? Why are they keep saying this? This is why we're delineating, because we feel like people are trying to tag on to what our ancestors accomplished. And now you trying to do whatever you trying to do to dilute what our ancestors did, to say now that you're the reason, your ancestors is the reason why we're even sitting here. Just so disrespectful.
Own that. And people are walking around here calling me a tether, saying that I cannot claim that I'm Black. Even the video.
You are tether. You can say that you're Black, but you're not a foundational Black American. And she was so proud to be Haitian. So it's like, why do you even want to be Black, right? Like, why won't you just say that you're Haitian, right? That's how you culturally identify it. And it's a beautiful thing. Shout out to Haitians and shout out to Haiti, you know what I mean? Or Haiti, right? I mean, what's the issue, right? So this is the only thing. They only want to say we all black, so they try to have some authority to be able to criticize and wag their fingers. But you should be in Haiti wagging your fingers. You should go talk to the Dominicans and wag your finger at them. Try to squash that beef, because if the Dominicans and Haitians could squash that beef and come together, I believe all the dominoes will fall into place. But she's not talking to the Dominicans. She's talking to the foundationals. It's like, yeah, since you're giving this tether tirade, it's kind of falling on many deaf ears.
Of this young man stating that he didn't even understand the difference between race and ethnicity. Race is what you physically see. I can't physically tell the distinction between nobody at this table. Ethnicity is your cultural roots. You're not.
So again, like she's over here trying to cook. Ethnicity is your cultural roots. Like, huh? That's ethnicity is more than that. And then when she's saying ethnicity is your cultural roots, well, her cultural roots are Haitian. Those aren't my cultural roots. So why is she trying to pretend like it's the same? And man, and this is just a form of ethnic erasure. We all the same, but at the same time, she can maintain that she's Haitian, saying how different she is. And she's over here like, yes, I'm finna read this dude. It's like, bruh, you're just super contradicting yourself on this toxic tether tirade.
Of this young man stating that he didn't even understand the difference between race and ethnicity. Race is what you physically see. I can't physically tell the distinction between nobody at this table. Ethnicity is your cultural roots. Your nationality is where you're legalized. So until we even understand the distinction of words, you are not even black. And I don't even want to have that conversation, because what you tell your kids you're black, and your kids say, well, my skin color ain't black, mom. Where did that?
We gotta stop this, bruh. Again, literally, foundational black Americans, when we are saying that we're black, no one, and I mean no one, is talking about their skin tone. Our skin tone ranges from copper colored, brown, red, and as light as Steph Curry. There's a wide spectrum of blackness. So when your kid talks about your skin tone, we don't say, yeah, your skin is black. No, they say you'll be treated because you'll be perceived as black, right? That's the ethnonym that people want to try to collapse it into just a color. But, even if black was a color, none of our skin is black, right? Our skin is brown. So our skin is brown, but we're supposed to call ourselves black. And then there's a bunch of brown skinned people who are brown, but they call themselves white. Uh-huh. It's just like, come on, bro. Like, I don't know why people are still pretending that they think that black is just only a color. How many white? Look at Trump. Everyone knows that Trump is a white man, but what color is he? They literally call him the orange man. I mean, when's the last time you seen Donald Trump with quote unquote white skin? You've never seen him with white skin, but is he not a white man? So this whole, oh, look at your skin, you black. It's like, no, you're not. And you got to tell your kids to say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud, or you can be a freedman and I'm proud. You said this woman has to be on 12 different medications. Yeah, I mean, crazy and cuckoo. There were a ton of slave rebellions. One happened here in my state in 1811. Well, what they're trying to say is that they're saying that happened because of AT in 1804. But yeah, there were slave revolts prior to 1804. I mean, you don't really have to take my word for it. Just do some simple research. Here, type this in Grok, Chat GPT, Copilot. Say, give me an impartial listings that summarizes the research of slave revolts prior to 1804. I would do it in real time, but I'm about to get ready to shut it down. That's all you got to do is look it up. You'll see multiple slave revolts prior to that. So couldn't one say that the slave revolts prior to 1804 were the ones that truly inspired the Haitian Revolution? Fair questions to ask. So let me go ahead and get back into this, and I will be shutting this thing down very soon.
Because What you tell your kids you're black, and your kids say, well, my skin color ain't black, mom. Where did that?
So how, like I've been saying on this channel, we've been using the word black. It came from a Blackfeet tribe here in America. We've been using words that when.
And this is the thing. I know people try to shame us, but we chose to be called black. And I know a lot of cats, oh man, why y'all call yourself that? It's bruh. It's fine that you don't want to be called black, bruh. Just stop talking to me about black business. You're not black. And then they start pivoting. Well, you can't gatekeep blackness, and that's our problem. It's like, but you don't even want to be black, bruh. There's a lot of us that stand proud on being black. You can't shame us about our blackness, but we don't want to take toxic tether tips from you either, right? And I appreciate Big Rig. I ain't even know bro was still in here, bro. So I appreciate you rocking out. I am about to shut this thing down soon. So I'm gonna, play a little bit more of this video and then I will be up out of here though. But yeah, and but yeah, I mean, if you want to say something, Big Rig, you can come up, but otherwise, I'm gonna play a little bit more because I do got tether fatigue. Because this chick thought she cooked, but she's on a panel of some other suspected tethers, and nobody is truly challenging her.
Further back than when Europeans came to the land. So.
Oh, and what I was saying is like with the blackness, like let me be clear, no one is being forced to identify as anything. Identify how you want to. If someone identifies as a Moor, I don't go into Moorish spaces and try to convince them how they should identify. If someone says they're an Israelite, if someone says they're a Hindu, a Muslim, I don't go in Muslim spaces and try to tell them how they should identify. You can be foundationally black and Muslim. You can be foundationally black and Hebrew. You can be foundationally black and Moor, and identify however you want to identify and still build, enrich, and enfranchise the group. But instead, there's this intellectual imposition where people are just trying to pose and impose and bully and forcibly assert, their dominance onto you just to get you to be labeled as a generic African. And yeah, those days are over.
This is just trying to, I guess, because deportations is coming, like Auntie said. So they are so passionate about we're all one.
I come from. Your oppressor gave you these words, but we sitting around literally going back and forth because of words that does not even define your roots.
I'm saying, what difference does it make?
That is also
Because
what I'm
nobody
saying.
is going.
She talking about it doesn't define your roots. Like, you don't define our roots. You going on a podcast whining to us doesn't define our roots. And again, like, our roots are here. So we don't have the same roots. Her roots are in Haiti, but she's trying to make it seem like, yeah, my roots is in Haiti, but we are one. No, we're not. I didn't have the same story as Haiti. Why are you trying to collapse your Haitian story? But then at the same time, she's trying to delineate and say, y'all got your freedoms because of us. How was it because of us? I thought the us was we and the us was all of us. Well, no, y'all, this is like, bruh, this is all over the place. When it's convenient, she says we. When she wants to scold us, y'all. It's like, just shut up, chick. So let me just finish this out and then I'll be out of here.
Going to see, but it's one thing when you say it at another time last week or next week or this week, and then you say it another time and you say it different. It's about being consistent and showing up consistently that way to say, look, we're just black. Period.
Yes.
No one is going to see us.
Even me fighting this fight and being pro-black, I didn't realize how deep rooted the hate was in our community. I didn't know it was that deep rooted.
Again, she's saying our community, but like, what community is she talking about? And no one hates you. Just because someone called you a tether, it doesn't mean because they hate you, right? We call each other stuff all the time. It's just really pathetic, right? They say that we should be getting over being called the N-word and all this stuff, and then we call somebody a tether, which is a very mild epithet, right? then suddenly it's like, oh my God, it's just so much hate. It's like, no, the hate is what you're experiencing. Now, let's just be honest, right? This chick is Haitian. What is worse? Someone in Haiti assassinating a Haitian president or someone from America calling them a tether? I mean, what is really bad? They call me a tether. Yeah. And someone from Haiti assassinated your president. They have more smoke for someone calling them a tether than from some random person assassinating their leader. Did y'all even know that the Haitian president got assassinated? No, but you've heard Tariq, he did a space. The FBA's called me a tether. It's like all they keep talking about was FBA's is a lot of internet stuff. Yo, president getting assassinated. That wasn't on the internet. That was in broad day. I'm just saying. And we've been joined by the Brownsville bully, Cloudness 457. And Cloudness, you extra late. I didn't even have to ask where Brooklyn at. But I'm glad Brooklyn has, bro, I've been on almost for 2 hours. But I'm about to shut it down. But actually, it's probably better that you came in late because you would have got more tether fatigue, bro. So I'm gonna rewind this back a little bit more so you can see this Cloudness. It's a little toxic tether, you know what I mean? Toxic tether tirade. So hopefully you have your Tylenol or your Tethernol.
To say, look, we're just at another time I come from.
Been using words that went further back than when Europeans came to the land. So this is just trying to, I guess, because deportations is coming, like Auntie said. So they are so passionate about we're all one.
I come from. Your oppressor gave you these words, but we sitting around literally going back and forth because of words that does not even define your roots.
I'm saying, what difference does it make?
That is also
Because
what I'm saying.
nobody is going to see. But it's one thing when you say it at another time last week or next week or this week, and then you say it another time and you say it different. It's about being consistent and showing up consistently that way to say, look, we're just black. Period.
Yes.
No one is going to see us.
Even me fighting this fight and being pro-black, I realized
They keep doing this thing. No one is going to see us as anything other than black. It's like, how do you see yourself, right? When we talk about blackness is how we see ourselves. But with them, they always talk about, well, when the white man pull us over, it's like, bruh, y'all are just too addicted to what Brad and Benjamin sees you as. It's like, this is kind of giving divestment vibes. It's like, what's going on? I don't care. My lineage is based on my lineage, my culture, my heritage, my ancestry. Is not based on if a non-black person sees me and they're confused. It's okay if they're confused, right? Because none of us are infallible, but I will correct them and say, hey, this is what it is.
I didn't realize how deep rooted the hate was in our community. I didn't know it was that deep rooted. I didn't know I would be fighting to be loved by my own community. I didn't know I was going to be this outed, and it feels very discomforting.
What community? She's talking about my own community. You're Haitian, right? Like, so, I mean, if you got a lot of love from Haitians, what are you complaining about? So what she's saying is she got a lot of love from Haitians, but she don't got a lot of love from FBAs. What is she truly saying? It's just this kind of vague tether babble, bruh. This is some baby back barbecued bushmeat babble. What are we doing, bruh?
It literally feels like, oh, now I see what they did. They did a number on us.
Really
so much so you want me to hate myself to where I can't even identify.
Can't get along.
So now they take it as we want them to hate ourselves. But this is
We want you to hate yourself. Why the heck would we want you to hate yourself? I don't want some. It's bad enough that she's a tether. Why would I want a self-loathing tether around me? And since I'm about to get up out of here, hey, tether lady.
Shut up, bitch.
But yeah, I mean, y'all get the drift of the video. So it's okay for us to be different. right? We don't have to pretend that we're all the same. You said, the dirt cookie babble, the dirt cookie drivel, the dirt cookie chatter, right? So we all the same? No, we're not. And it's only done with us. Think of the term Asian. Like I said, I've already said this, but this is just for the newcomers. And since I'm about to, and shout out to mi amiga Tara Sanchez. I really appreciate you for rocking out. And we got to do a stream again soon, Tara. Let's just talk about Asian, right? Asian encompasses over 40 distinct countries and hundreds of ethnic groups. A Japanese American, third generation professional, a recently arrived Hmong refugee, a Punjabi programmer have vastly different cultural traditions, socioeconomic realities, and language, even though they're all classified as Asian. Now, with the term black, it's just been an umbrella term to include Africans and African descent, right? But that's a misnomer in itself because not all quote unquote black and richly melanated people are African, right? But this term, it includes recent immigrants from diverse nations, such as the continent, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Ghana, then also the Afro-Caribbean, such as Jamaicans and Haitians. These groups hold linguistic, religious, and cultural backgrounds that are unique and distinct from each other. Trying to pretend that we're all the same is just a form of ethnic erasure, right? And specifically with Asians, right? When you group in Asians up and you want to prevent that model minority and the monolith myth, because the minority myth suggests that Asians are uniformly affluent, highly educated, and this will mask severe economic hardships, language barriers, and lack of resources faced by specific subgroups, right? So when they think about the model minority Asian, they're talking about like the Japanese whiz kids, Chinese, Koreans. They're not talking about Cambodians and Thai people like that. You know what I mean? So it's important for us to be able to disaggregate the data so we can break down the specific ethnic subgroups so we can understand that, people may have different upbringings, different ailments, etc., right? Essentially, I'm going to just leave it with this because this will be an ongoing discussion. Forcing individuals into a generic category strips them of their heritage, ancestral history, and unique personal stories. Recognizing specific ethnicities honors the distinct struggles, triumphs, and cultural contributions of each group rather than treating white as the default identity and everyone else as a uniform other. When you use the term person of color, what you're saying is white is the standard and everyone else is a person of color, because that's all POC means. It just means non-white. And if person of color means non-white, I'd rather you use the term non-white than use the disgusting and offensive term person of color. However, if you insist on using that term over and over and over, and you want to call people of color, I will be forced to call the Lily Dubs, the Caucasians, people of no color, people who lack color, people devoid of color, people with minuscule amounts of color. If you think that that sounds foolish, it sounds just as foolish as person of color. So, hey, if you happen to be in an interracial relationship, I'm going to say, oh, wow, that's beautiful. How is it being with a person of no color? Oh, wow, your wife is beautiful. I didn't know you were married to a person of no color, right? You think that person of no color sounds weird, but somehow person of color sounds cool? No, it doesn't. It's a disgusting and an offensive term that leads to ethnic erasure, right? And now they're trying to say, hey, people of color fought in the civil rights. Like, no, it was foundational Black Americans. People of color got dog sicked on them. No, they didn't. So no, don't ever, ever, ever call me a POC. and I'm gonna make another stream. I'm FBA, not a POC. And then these whole people of color, right? They tell you why y'all identify as a color, and then they'll group people up based on color. But I thought identifying as a color was bad. So why are you grouping me together with a bunch of random non-white people based on color or lack thereof? Because Cameron Diaz, she's Latina. Latinas are people of color. Okay, what color is Cameron Diaz? Don't worry, I'll wait. I fell asleep on Sabby because there's too much nonsense in our chat. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, bro. I had when I was over there when she was in salute to the sister Sabby Sab, Sabrina Salvati. If y'all not subscribed to the channel, go over there and subscribe. But yeah, when she was doing the thing with Bree, this is look, I love Bree. She's a beautiful sister, but like if there's anything that's grassroots FBA, Bree, hey, you can consult, you can give advice, but no, I don't want Bree is not, it's I'm B1, but I'm more poignant. I'm FBA1 or I'm F1, Freedman first. Bree is L1, leftist first, and that's fine. It's just I'm good, bruh. And she was doing a little bit of gaslighting. And salute to Roger Meadows, the East Coast finest, Mr. Nassau County. Yeah, Bree was over there talking about because this is like I'm just gonna say that she means well. It's just not her, but that's why I can't rock with these lefties and communists and Marxists and all this stuff, because they put all of this stuff before their quote unquote community and their identity. So what Bree loves to do is Bree tries to make everything about class and all this stuff. And look, hey, I love fighting for everybody, right? But what she always does is she always is trying to tie our stuff to something and someone else. Like when she was saying, oh, well, black voters and especially young black voters, they didn't want to stay. And I'm not saying that this didn't matter and it didn't impact, but all the voters that I said that said no tangibles, no vote, they weren't talking about Gaza. But that's what Bree did. Yeah, man. And that's why the young voters, that's why they didn't want to vote spicy Latina. Who was you talking about, Frank Nitty? um yeah, so this is what they try to do, right? And Bree, remember, Bree was on Bernie's campaign, right? So Bree was part of that kind of lefty lunatic crowd that was trying to convince us that, hey, yeah, Bernie doesn't support reparations, but hey, if we fight for Medicare for all, it will disproportionately help black people. So that's kind of like reparations, right? Like, no, it's not. When you look at what they give to Jewish people, millions and millions. And nobody is talking about, hey, if you get universal health care, that'll be like reparations for the J people. It's like, no, I'm talking about Brianna Joy Gray, and I only brought her up because uh my boy Cloudness mentioned that he was watching Sabby Sab's podcast, which is Sabrina Salvati. So he brought up nonsense in the chat, and I was saying that when I was over in her chat, there was some nonsense because many people, yeah, Brianna Joy, yeah, her name is Brianna Joy Gray. And like I said, she's a lovely sister, a beautiful sister, extremely smart. I'm just saying when it comes to FBA stuff, she's more of that kind of put that FBA stuff to the side and let's focus on class, right? But like there's no movement that's being built based on class, right? It's just a lot of aspirational stuff. They love to talk up, look at Shama Sawand and she's fought and all this other stuff, and then the left is they don't even get behind it. Um, you said there's a lot to unpack in that case, the Nolan case as well. Yeah, I'm getting sick of this Nolan Wells grift, because there's a lot of people that don't give a dang what happened to him. Oh yeah, Cameron Diaz. Okay. Yeah, she's a spicy Latina, but yeah, ethnically she's Latina. Racially, she's white. she can check either box because there's no race called Latina. You said, I've been listening to Afro Elite. He got news on Carmelo Anthony case, the Metcalfs. You didn't know about that, Roger? Yeah, bro, the Metcalfs. And this is what I was telling you, bro. They had got caught calling people the N-word. They had bullied a black dude. They did some graffiti that said they want the KILL all blacks. They did a Hyle, the dude with the funny mustache, who didn't like the chosen people. So they had a history of it. Bro, he had allegedly punched a girl in the stomach. He allegedly attacked his mom. He allegedly called his teacher a bitch. So this dude, let's just call it what it was. He was a thuggish miscreant. Let's just say it like that. Meanwhile, Carmelo Anthony, Carmelo Anthony, when he was a young teenager, he jumped in a lake and saved someone drowning. How many people could even swim strong enough to jump in a lake and save someone? Meanwhile, while Carmelo Anthony was saving people from drowning, Austin Metcalf was beating the dog snot out of people. I'm just saying. Dub privilege. You said Brianna don't like the brother. I can tell. Hey, she does give that vibes just because, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised, and like I said, I'm not the penis or the punani police, but she does, seem like she would be dripping in zaddy juice. I'm just saying, and I appreciate you for rocking out, Progress, the foundational mixed American. Yeah, that's what Afro was saying. Is she with Brad? I know that don't matter. Let me find out. It's a low life Luke. I hope not. I hope it. I hope it would be. A brother. But it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be no Tyrone or nor Jamal. Probably like I said. Hopefully it's a Duncan Pender Hughes or a Bartholomew Johnson. But most likely it's probably Luke. You feel me? Probably Luke Lancaster. That's probably who she with, to keep it a buck. And he says those saltines were domestic terrorists. Were or what? She talked to Tariq for 8 hours. Oh, wow. I never knew that she talked to Tariq. But honestly, when I hear stuff like this, it makes it even worse because if she's already talked to Tariq, she's talked to Yvette, she's talked to Marcel Dixon, and then she's still on this same stuff. And I'm not saying that she should change. I'm just saying if I'm on some grassroots Freedman First stuff, yeah, I don't want Bree anywhere near the leadership because it's like all she's going to try to do is derail it into some trans smash the patriarchy type stuff, which those issues have a place. It's just not when we're dealing with specific Freedman First issues. Yeah, I didn't even know this, Roger. Yeah, those type of things, man, did Tariq post that? Because I never seen that. But yeah, but it's not just Bree. So it's and like I said, I genuinely like Bree. I think she's extremely smart. But like I said, her always trying to hijack all of our issues to try to make it about Gaza, trying to say that, oh, the black voter stayed home because of Gaza. And let's just say that we did. That's an idiotic choice, right? Let's just say that we were saying, okay, no tangibles, no vote. And we weren't willing to vote because of the Palestinian conflict. And then let's just say, okay, the genocide stops. How does that truly help us, right? Our schools are still going to be underfunded. We're still going to have these crazy health outcomes and disparities, right? Black women are still going to be, being unalived at a disproportionate rate, right? But then, hey, we free Palestine. Yeah, but who's trying to free us? Nobody is trying to free us. We're under siege here. They keep talking about, what about black on black crime? Okay, how could I stop black on black crime by focused on Lebanon, right? They're not saying, what about Palestinians or Middle Eastern, right? And Israelis are Middle Eastern. Could you find me one video of someone talking about Middle Eastern on Middle Eastern crime? They keep talking about, what about black on black crime? Well, what about it? You want me to clean it up, right? Okay, cool. How am I going to clean? You want me to clean? What about Chicago? How am I going to clean up Chicago? Always talking about Gaza. How am I going to stop the unalivings in Oakland by focus on Iran? Okay. And then they say, well, you just don't know politics and all politics is foreign. No, all politics is local. And that's why I'm focused locally. I don't want Palestinians to be having bombs dropped on them and babies have to get limbs amputated with no anesthesia. It's rather disgusting to witness and to know that we're funding. That still is not a kitchen table issue for me. I can say that I'm disgusted, appalled at the abhorrent behavior of the Zio mafia, but at the same time, if the Palestinians get reparations and a Marshall Plan, you still can't answer me how that's going to help Black Americans. And then they try to pretend, well, if we stop funding Israel, then, then maybe we can have a little bit of crumbs to sprinkle on the Black community. They're not going to stop funding Israel. Have you seen they've increased funding? And now they're saying that, hey, we're going to do a joint military operation with Israel. So the funding for Israel is not going to stop, right? But we can still stand on business for, like, even Roger, right? Roger's in the chat. Roger loves talking about CBIs. Like Roger, like, hey, Roger may make your head spin how much he talks about CBIs, but he's giving you very pertinent and poignant information. Those citizen ballot initiatives are going to be implemented here, not in Gaza. And somehow it turns into like hatred. Well, Malcolm X, he stood for the Palestinians. It's like, bruh, again, how is this going to help me? And then when I start telling them, okay, like, fine, I'll stand for the Palestinians. What the heck have they done to stand with us? And then they say, well, when George Floyd was unalive, they painted a mural. Well, how about I paint a mural? Then we're even. Y'all painted a mural of George Floyd. I'll paint a mural of Gaza. We're even. Right? Look at Nick Cruz. Well, when I got some pepper spray, the Palestinians told me how to get it out my eye. It's like, bro, you could have found that on Google. But like, okay, salute to them for doing that. But that was a handful of people. It wasn't the collective community. And shout out to Roger. He says Tariq was hosting a Twitter space in 2021. She was a guest. I got on at like 3 a.m. What? That's crazy. I never heard about this or seen it. Yeah, he said we got Gaza in Indiana. So yeah, forget Gaza. What about Gary? So rather than focus on Gary, Indiana, I'm supposed to focus on Gaza or Gaza? Like, Brianna don't care about our issues. She probably an Eastern Star or a Mason anyways. Well, I know that she went to Harvard and that's a beautiful accomplishment. So, some would consider her part of the bourgeoisie, or some call the PMC, professional managerial class. It's just like a kind of lefty version of a boule, to be honest. I have tether fatigue and it keeps me a headache. So when I see panels, I keep it mobbing. Nah, I hear you, brother. Tether fatigue is, yeah. You said I saw you in the chat. Oh yeah, I was in the chat, bro. Like, so I went in there. I was telling Bree, I was like, Bree, stop trying to tie all of our stuff to Gaza. Literally, there was nobody that I knew when they said no tangibles, no vote. Bree is trying to say when we said no tangibles, no vote, we meant stop the genocide in Gaza. So again, like I said, if they said stop the genocide in Gaza, how was that a tangible for us? It's like a feel good story, and I do want it to stop, but that tangibly doesn't do anything for you. If gas is through the roof, how does, you know what I mean, you advocating for Gaza stop that? And then they try to spin it around. Well, we keep funding Israel, and if we don't fund Israel, then, you know what I mean, it's just, and I'm not saying that there isn't some legitimacy to some of the arguments, but like, you can't blame everything on AIPAC. You just can't. And what Bree fails to address is that, Bree, she let Norm Finkelstein, he was on there like kind of disrespecting the Panthers, kind of like poo-pooing the Panthers. And she does all of this stuff in the name of solidarity. But what solidarity do they have? Like bruh, who should have more chops than a Bernie co-chair, right? Like, wasn't she like a co-chair for Bernie Sanders? But like, what chops does she really have? I mean, like, she has the chops to get someone on her podcast, but right now, who do you think could organize more effectively? Tariq Nasheed or Breonna Joy Gray? Tariq Nasheed was never next to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was running as a presidential candidate, right? So she didn't use any of that energy and grassroots to organize. All she used that energy was to network with a bunch of non-black leftists, and then the black leftists who was willing to throw the black people under the bus to get close to the non-black ones. I'm just saying, like, bro, that's not something. Yeah, Kyle Kuklinski, he's the same way. Kyle Kalinske, I don't see these cats as any different. Kyle Kalinske, Tim Pool, all these cats are the same. Different ideologies, but if you ask them about foundational issues, they'll all say the same. Bree admitted she was bougie. Well, I mean, Stevie Wonder could see that she is bougie. I didn't know that she admitted it, but and yeah, like I love Sabrina, but yeah, like she got like a bunch of wackos in her chat because all these wackos, they want us to mention black issues, but only use black issues so we can tie it into POC, trans, and immigrant issues, so that basically our issues are the legitimate driving catalyst to usher in everyone else's agenda, and then we don't get anything. You don't even get a butter biscuit. You get the crumb of a butter biscuit that fell off an undocumented immigrant's plate, because this is a nation of immigrants, so we have to prioritize them. And then they start, trying to say, hey, minorities and POCs. So if we help the immigrants are POC. So it's kind of like we helped you because you're a POC too, right? It's just disgusting. You said, and that's why I don't support game goofy off code ninjas. Me either, man. It's like, well, this is a renaissance and a rude awakening period, right? You know what I mean? And like Cat Williams said, all lies will be exposed. All tethers and sambos will be exposed as well. The only people that talk about foreign policy are people who have financially elevated in their personal lives and established personal social safety net. All of those people that you name, and some you didn't, who speak about foreign policy all the time, I know for sure they're domestic and taken care of. And when you think of like people like Bree, right? Bree, I think doesn't Bree have a law degree? Did Bree say anything about Carmelo Anthony? And this is where some of the intellectual cowardice comes in, right? Who would be more qualified to speak on some of these issues in terms of a legal matter as someone with the law degree? This is why I shout out to the sister Tesla and Figaro, right? I think she's going to, to get her law degree, and you always hear her standing up for the community. Bree, who graduated from one of the most prestigious schools in all of the land and has a law degree, but is never standing on business for us for the law. Even look at Judge Joe Brown, right? He's always telling us how we can't get reparations. Nigga, you were a judge, bro. We want to hear how we can. You feel me? And you should have already been working on something behind the scenes. You see the difference? Johnny Cochran was behind the scene working on how we can get reparations. Judge Joe Brown is working on wagging his finger at us. It's like, nigga, sit your old ass down, Judge. Respect to you, bro. But I'm just saying, bro, we don't want to hear, your old stories about, I walked 5 miles in the snow and to pull yourself up by your bootstrap boomer talk. If you're a legal expert, I want to hear what you can do for the community. I don't want to hear your legal expertise to say, hey, we can't do this and we can't do that. That's not what Ed Blum is doing. Ed Blum is telling his people what I can do. Meanwhile, you got some of the black legalese. Oh, well, we can't do that now. We don't want to offend anybody. Well, if that's the case, then yeah, kick rocks with no pit stops. Yeah, Tez is one of them ones. I like Tez. I peeped that in our chat. Don't act like independents they claim they are. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All them leftists are just for everybody. They're literally for everyone and everything but us, right? When we said Black Lives Matter, it was them coming up with the All Lives Matter. And then they would use the energy of Black Lives Matter to say, well, Black immigrants matter and Black trans matter and trans matters. And then it turned into Palestinians matter. And then if I'm saying, yeah, all these people do matter, but it's like, bro, why are you trying to hijack our thing? If I'm at a thing that's talking about breast cancer, I'm not going to come up there talking about and prostate cancer matters and colon cancer matters. It does. But this is a breast cancer event. And he says, but that does prove my point. You take care of people in their personal lives, but they will have bandwidth freed up to talk about these free Palestine issues. Yeah, they have bandwidth for every issue except for us. The Obamas were also lawyers who don't speak on the cases. Exactly. Judge Joe Brown. Yeah, I'm sick of bro. You know what I mean? All he has to do, he's whining at Carmelo, calling Carmelo a punk and all this other stuff, but he has nothing to say about the bigotry of the Metcalfs. And it's like, bro, who are you performing for? Like, bro, you already made your money. It's like you're close to 80. If you're not 80, bro, just hang it up and shut up, bro. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this thing down unless, y'all had it, any other statements or questions. I'm gonna just play a visual, and then if y'all haven't hit me with something by then we will be up out of here. I do sincerely appreciate y'all. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me, at least momentarily. And for that, I thank you. And actually, I think it's going to be that time to just shut it down. But without further ado. Yeah. Hey. B-Eazy, that dude, yeah. Hey. Shit so hot it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. I bring the pain like an aftermath of a car wreck. There's a lot of niggas that say they real. To me, that shit is far-fetched. Them cats is pussy. They really is on some feminine stuff. If I rock up on them with the 40 ounces, it's a definition of adrenaline rush. What it do is it's sweet like cinnamon puffer. My niggas is rough like Brillo pads. Grew up out on Mary Mac, but I used to hang on Willow pads. These birds that I roll with, outcasts and misfits. Better zip lips so you get hit when the fifth spit. Flat line in your Fitbit. Trap habits is black magic, no voodoo. Get the bands like Buku for the cocaine to go cuckoo. Most these niggas is foo-foo, so I'm shitting on them like doo-doo. I can't fuck with y'all like tofu. I'm just saying, man, like Goku. Bad bitches at the house with me watching Netflix or Roku. Fuck them both at the same time, and I swear to God it was so cool. Street legend, real boss, I call shots cause I'm still saucy. I know some G's to the bike crack on shite racket and fly back out to Millwall. When they hear me flow, they say I be burning up, burning up. Cookies to the drawer is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. When you hear me flow, say I be burning up, burning up. Cookies to the drawer is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up.
Ooh, B-Eazy. We all here to see B-Eazy. We wanna listen to B-Eazy. Ayy, we all like B-Eazy. Nah, matter of fact, we love B-Eazy. Believe me, he really that dude. Subscribe to the channel, it's easy to do. If you care, then go ahead and share this fire content, extraordinarily rare. That's why I put that on mamas, he is that dude. I put that on fathers, he is that dude. So be easy.
Liver?